This is the story of the men and women who took the leap of faith to embrace the vision of Jaiz Bank. Most times leaving a bank model that they knew for one that had no precedence in the Nigerian society. For many of them, not even the lower financial remuneration offered by Jaiz Bank in those days was enough to prevent them from taking up employment and building the human resource and administrative structures that the bank presently stands on today.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Karim. Wa ba'da, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is indeed something of great pleasure for me to be here at this moment in history to mark the 10th anniversary of the commencement of business of Jaiz Bank. As you are aware, the bank commenced business on the 6th of January 2012. We thank God. We are full of praise for Him for the enormous blessings that He bestowed on all of us, sparing our lives and those of our colleagues to see this day, but importantly for making this experiment a success.
Malam Muhammad Mustafa bin Tube stated that one of the greatest challenges that Jaiz Bank faced at conception was the lack of knowledge and understanding about Islamic banking in Nigeria. He mentioned that they had to put in a lot of work to sensitize stakeholders in the financial sector and the general public about Islamic banking.
My name is Mohammed Mustafa bin Tube. I'm a retired banker of nearly 40 years experience in the Nigerian financial system. I had the privilege of being the pioneer managing director of Jaiz Bank, and I'm now running my own Islamic financial advisory firm called Burak Capital. It's being regulated and registered and licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. I'm also on the board of directors of Bank of Industry. There was complete lack of misconception, lack of skills, lack of knowledge about Islamic banking in Nigeria. So we had to do a lot of road shows, a lot of town hall meetings, a lot of media, a lot of write-ups in the media, etc. before people begin to understand what Islamic finance was. And also when we started setting up, of course, because it's a new thing, we don't have trained manpower in Islamic finance. So we had to start our own, training programs, going to Bangladesh, Nairobi, South Africa, and also bringing experts to train our people. And also making a lot of advocacy to the various professional groups, whether it is Nigerian Institute of Bankers, Chartered Accountants. They come and we also go to Lagos, make presentations. Whenever there are presentations, they invited us, and then we go and make presentations. Even the Bankers Committee, which is, I had to make not one, not two presentations before they actually came to understand what Islamic finance was. So it was quite interesting, but it's also very tough because like one of the leading Islamic finance experts, Iqbal Khan, the pioneer managing director of HSBC Amana, told me, he said, yes, you will be leading in Nigeria, but you'll also be bleeding. And that's what he said.
In the early years, very few people believed the bank would survive, having been with the bank through its many seasons. Ismaila Adamu is overjoyed in the success that has trailed the bank so far.
I resumed fully as a staff in March 2003 as a staff of Jaiz. Then we call it Jaiz Profits and Loss Sharing Bank under incorporation. So a month after, we now form a company called Jaiz International PLC, which we use to look for the shares to deposit in CBN. Initially, nobody thought it would work. Nobody thought it would work. Actually, in fact, I don't even have enough words to describe my joy. Let me go back a little bit, then move forward. Imagine before you were alone, only you. Today, we have about 1,800 staff. I don't have enough English to explain how happy I am, because not every time somebody lives to witness such a great success in life.
Hajia Zara Musa picked up an interest in Islamic financing after attending the first seminar organized by Ahmed Zakari and Co. She immediately realized that this is what her journey in banking had been guiding her to. She personally began studying more about it while waiting for Jaiz to commence operation. When she couldn't wait any longer, she resigned her appointment at her then place of employment.
I was just waiting for Jaiz to come up. And when I couldn't wait any longer, I decided to resign, and then I was invited to join the Jaiz project itself. That is Jaiz International. That was when we started. I joined in to partake in the formation of Jaiz Bank. So I joined in 2006 February, and I partook in the private placement there. And I was, I think, the first permanent staff female of Jaiz. And from then on, we worked really hard to ensure that Jaiz came on board. We had ups and downs, but then Alhamdulillah, it came to fruition. And we opened our doors January 6th. We got the license November 11, 2011. 11/11/2011. So, and then we opened our doors January 6th. I was the first branch manager of the flagship branch. That's the branch in the head office. I was the first branch manager. Then I moved. I was the first head of human capital in Jaiz. And then I became part of the first set of regional managers in Jaiz. So I was available throughout. It wasn't easy. What we did, because there are no skills for Islamic finance in the country. Because Jaiz Bank is the first bank coming on board with this kind of special skill set. So what we did was, because it's a bank like any other bank, we looked for top talents in the banking industry. And what we first and foremost looked for is those people who are passionate about Islamic finance or Islamic banking itself, and they want to move on their own. We don't need to invite them, and we selected those who were top talents in their fields, and knowing that we had to train. We had to bring in trainers and all that. So what we did was, we looked at those that were ready to, a lot of them wanted to sacrifice. I sacrificed myself because I was earning millions in FSB. I was really comfortable, and I resigned. And I came to Jaiz International, and my first offer letter was 50,000, and I rejected it, and I agreed with 100,000. And I started as a contract staff when I was a deputy manager in the defunct FSB International. So we looked for this kind of people who were ready to sacrifice. Some we had to employ because we really needed them. We needed their skills, and we knew they came because they wanted to improve on whatever grades they were in their previous banks, or the salary, the allowance. So the monetary aspect and growth, we required that. But majority of them wanted to come because they just had passion for Islamic banking.
Rukayyat Tahiru mentioned that a lot of the Pioneer staff saw the brand as their own personal project. The goal and vision of a bank that was in line with their religious belief motivated them to accept to work in the new institution.
When I joined, the motivation, of course, was, finally we're going to work in an environment that is suitable to our faith. Because where I was working prior to now, prior to when I joined Jaiz Bank, I couldn't wear hijab because it was a mostly Christian-dominated company. So I recall when I started work, I was wearing hijab. And then one day, one director called me to his office. So I went to see him and he said, well, I've received complaints about the way you're dressing and this is not really acceptable around here. I said, I thought this was how I dressed the day I was interviewed and I was offered this job. I said, well, if you want to continue to dress this way, probably you need to find a job at the National Mosque. That was exactly what that man said. So I said, okay, no problem. So the first opportunity I got was I jumped at it regardless of what the remuneration was. I mean, we all know that Jaiz Bank started small and couldn't afford the kind of remuneration that most other bigger organizations would pay. So quite a number of us took some form of pay cut to join Jaiz. Quite a number of us came on that same notion, very excited, eager to work for God, and so far so good. It's been the best decision I ever took.
Challenges of the early days were numerous. The Pioneer team had to set up most of the systems and processes that were going to be working without leveraging on their experience from their previous employment. In addition, they had to surmount the twin obstacles of marketing a new bank and creating awareness for a new model.
I was working with a conventional bank, and all my life I thought if I leave that bank, it means I've left banking for good. The bank I left was actually one of the first-tier bank and one of the newly revolutionized bank, that brought computing, everything, into the system, from the tally system and the ledger system, So, and everything was actually planned and arranged. And then we came here and then we found out that we have to do everything ourselves, and from the document we're going to be using was actually drafted by all of us, at different levels. Some were doing IT, some were doing operations manual, some were designing, drafting forms to be used and everything. And one of the challenge, apart from that, that we actually got is when we were opening, we were supposed to start on the 6th of January, but we started from the beginning of the month, going to the office just to prepare. And we expected that because we are an Islamic bank, non-interest bank, people will just come. And we found the shock of our life. When we opened that day, there was nobody except for one person that I could still remember. Late Alhaji Dr. I.D. Ahmed, he just died recently. Very nice man, he was the only one. He came before 8 o'clock. He wanted to be the first person to open an account in Jaiz Bank. And when he came in and he noticed how the banking hall was so dry, and he was like, what happened? Did you tell people? We said, well, we didn't tell anybody. He sat down there and he was calling different imams around because it was a Friday. So he was calling different imams and all of that. Please, in your khutbah today, tell people that Jaiz Bank has started operations. And as God will have it, immediately after almost around 2, we couldn't contain the crowd. We also had the challenge of converting people. In our other banks, all you need to go, as soon as you say I'm from so bank, all you need to negotiate is pricing because the bank is already there. The first shock of my life was that I thought all the customers that I was very close to would be the first people to follow me. I was shocked. Nobody wants to come to Jaiz. We thought because of it being a non-interest bank, at least people will all rush to come. But what we realized later was that you have to have a value even when you're doing non-interest before people will be comfortable with you. So instead of marketing the bank, we now became we now became those that are creating awareness. If you go, instead of talking about your products, you now have to start from the concept of non-interest banking itself. How do you do things differently? Why do I have to come to you, and why do I leave this? What do you have to offer? So those were the initial challenges.
The need to create awareness for the bank was buttressed by Malam Mansour. The passion and the drive of the staff, however, was undoubted, and they were only too happy to sacrifice whatever necessary to ensure they met their goals.
Having worked with some banks before coming to Jaiz, I worked with First Bank. I also worked with Guarantee Trust Bank, and then I joined Jaiz about 10 years ago. That is precisely in February 2012. So the journey has been that of excitement and mixed feelings. Initially, when it started, Jaiz Bank mostly employed only operations staff, and we submitted CVs that time, but we were told by some of our colleagues that were in operations that joined maybe from GT to Jaiz Bank, that you guys, we don't need you much, because our even thinking is when we open this bank, how we're just thinking of how to get some policemen to control the crowd that will be coming into the banking hall. That's our even dilemma, not to mention just going for marketing. So we don't need marketing, we don't need marketers. That was the notion. And it was a common belief by almost all the people that started Jaiz, because of course, the need, because the society, a lot of people need the non-interest aspect. Some people don't patronize the conventional because of interest, and they feel okay, once the Jaiz bank is on board, everybody will start rushing and competing to even come to open accounts. But then, on a fateful Friday, when it was opened, precisely, if I can remember, this first or second, I could not remember precisely the dates of January. So it was a Friday. The bank was open, 8 o'clock in the morning. Until around prayer time, nobody was coming into that bank. Then a lot of people were, wow, what happened? But people went for Friday prayers in Kano. I was in Kano, so I went. I actually observed my Friday prayers in Al Furqan Mosque, where Bashir Aliyu, Dr. Bashir, was one of the phrase members of the central bank. He delivered a lecture. Okay, this bank that you guys has been open, and please, you should troop in to go and open your accounts. And I was also part of that, and I went also to Jaiz that same day to open my account, to grab a form for opening an account. That is when the crowd started coming. But crowd still was not enough to bring policemen to control the crowd. So there and then, I think probably the manager of Jaiz from that morning till that time noticed that maybe the thinking wasn't around that. The need for marketing is still very, very important as any other bank. Of course, Naima also joined before us. She was there at the branch. She's now currently the regional manager of the Northwest. So she now said, okay, let's start. I now asked, okay, who is the driver? They said, okay, yes, we have a driver. I said, why is the car? We don't have a car. That's the first thing. I said, how? He says, I saw some bullion ones, but we don't have marketing cars to go out. Then I brought out my key and I now gave it out to one of the drivers, Jafar, precisely. It now became the official car of Jaiz in Kano, and we've used that for almost a month or so before we got the marketing cars sent to us.
Getting the necessary technical infrastructure ready for the new bank was not an easy task, but the commitment of the management team incentivized the pioneer technical staff to ensure everything was ready for the bank to take off when it did.
The journey actually is very interesting and challenging. Very interesting in the sense that in the first instance is something most of us believe in from day one, and challenging due to the fact that we were working in a bank that is older than all of us. So everything has been in place. We are just running the operations of the respective banks most of us came from. And we came and faced the challenge of setting up the infrastructure required for a bank to start operations. So that has been one of the major challenges. And on top of that, it happens to be that the model of operations of the bank we are starting is new in the entire country. So being the first setters also posed a lot of a challenge, because people out there don't really even understand how the banks operate. So for me, coming from the technical background, I have to also, double with some business knowledge for us to educate actually whoever we come across that will be interested in knowing what we do and how we do it. The management support has really helped us in getting what we intend to do. I will start actually with an example. The core banking application we are using. I think as a bank, we set the record because they said it severally that they've never implemented that solution within the time period we deployed the solution and made it functional in this bank. And that was actually achieved due to very strong management support and commitment to the cause of deployment of the solution. I think on top of my head, that's the very first thing that I can tell you, that the management commitment and support to the staff on ground to ensure we deliver on the mandate given to us has been marvelous. It has been challenging, obviously, and we most of us actually came with some with experience. So the experience we came with has really helped us because we have the network, actually the network of colleagues in the industry with requisite knowledge and background, and we have quite a number of vendors, OEMs and the rest that can support us anytime we need them. Because basically, if actually whatever we need from any supporting vendor, OEM or any solution provider is beyond actually what we can do, actually the management actually can give a call and we always get things up and running. Yes, we had challenges, but then whenever there is any challenge, there is always a solution, and the whole stakeholders rally around and ensure whatever we intend to put it in place is functional.
Today, Ahmed is proud that he stuck to his decision to join Jaiz Bank, despite the concerns of friends and associates in the beginning of the journey.
Being a very new bank, of which the model of operation is not even well known, there's been this concern actually from families and friends on what are you getting into? Are you really sure this is what you want to do? Or what about the risk you are considering? And but just based on our commitment and belief in the cause actually we are driving at, all this did not deter us, because personally, even myself at the point, not knowing how Islamic Bank operates, when the operation started, I started reviewing online. So how do we make money? How will this bank pay my salary? How do we, realize return on investment to even, maybe for shareholders to also get some things out of their investment. So I have done all this review, and as I said earlier, so many discouragement here and there from families and friends, but based on the commitment actually we are able to come, and I'm proud to be part of this success story actually, as we are growing from strength to strength, and things are getting better by the day.
The integrity of the staff helped in no small measure in managing the expectation of customers who also, at the time, had very little knowledge of the operation of Islamic banking.
I joined the bank precisely in 4th October 2011. That's over 10 years ago. And I joined basically the issue of interest ever since I was in the other side as the commercial bank. So I was not okay. I was not comfortable with the way the interest is being, the main income or the profit, everything that is being earned, majorly is from interest. And as a Muslim, it's not, it's deserted. It's not like in Islam. So that's why when I saw the opportunity, I quickly grabbed it and joined Jaiz Bank. Some people encouraged me to grab it and move on. Allah is with me. But others were trying to drag me, saying that you shouldn't go, let's wait. And we too are going to join, but we have to wait and see what will happen in the next 2-3 years before we join. So they are trying to say I should just hold on, but I say no. Since I have the opportunity, let me go. When we joined in October, there were no branches. Then we were in Abuja doing training with the pioneer staff because everything was started from scratch. Even the software is new in the country. So all of us that joined the bank doesn't know about the software. So I trained for like 2-3 months. We've been in Abuja. So that we drafted a lot of things, even the account opening packages, all the forms. We are either one part of the committee or another trying to put things together, the forms and everything, even the operations manual. We are part of it, drafted the manual. So after then, we were posted to branches. I was posted to this particular branch as a teller. I was the post teller at this branch. So even the other staff that joined after the training didn't know what we knew, what little we knew during our training. So talk less of the customers that are coming in. They are asking a number of questions that you don't have the answer. Just try to say what you can say. And people are coming, this is not the way you're supposed to be dressing. Even our dressing, people are challenging it. Why is dressing like this? This is not Islamic bank.
The bank has grown so much in human capital over the years, and this is a new burden on the pioneer staff to be role models to the new staff.
I'm the current head of customer experience department in the bank. I started as a customer service officer in the very first branch, at least one of the first 3 that was opened, that is here in the head office. I was working with EcoBank. I started my career in 2006. So in 2010, I left EcoBank to go for my master's in the UK. So while I was there, that was when of course, we've heard of Jaiz, we've heard of the promoters trying to get license and all that. So in 2011, when I was rounding up, we now heard, okay, Jaiz now has the license, and immediately I entered the website and got sent my CV and an application. So immediately I resumed. I did a follow-up. Okay, I'm back. I need the job, and I was called for an interview in December 2011. Had the interview. Got called, and I started work in December 2011. Of course, we opened our doors 2012 January. So I was one of the first. We're just 2 customer service officers, so we were there practically being the first set of people to welcome our first set of customers. Yes, it was a little bit challenging, although most of us that started in January had a training. I think the training started sometime in September, so that was before I got the job, but almost everybody in the branch then had gone through that September, October, November training, so it was a full training. When I came in December too, I went through that training, but of course it was compressed because we had just some few weeks to open. So we were all hearing new terms, learning new terms, murabaha, mudaraba, terms that most of us have never heard before. So it was a learning process, and we were learning on the job as well. But we had a lot of resources we could refer to. So and we had customers who came in and actually knew what it was all about. So sometimes we got schooled by our customers, and then of course it was just a learning process, but very exciting, like I said. First of all, we had just 3 branches those early days, so we had a lot of people saying, why aren't you in Lagos, why aren't you in all the other northern states? We're just in Kaduna, Kano and Abuja, just these 3 branches, at least for the first few months. So yes, we didn't have a wide reach, So it was very difficult convincing people that are just probably visiting. Once you tell them, okay, we have a bank, please come and open an account, they'll be like, oh, but I live in Lagos, what do you want me to do? Yes, we had the ATM and all that, and then we had partnership with another bank where you can go in and deposit and all that, but still it's quite difficult convincing Nigerians to trust you with their money when you're not physically there where they were. So that was one of the major problems. And then, like I said, it was a new concept to most of us. So trying to teach customers what you yourself is just learning was a little bit challenging. Then what else would I say? That's probably, it was basically a small bank, and then of course our customers were used to bigger banks. Everywhere you go, you see their signs, you see their branches, their ATMs and all that. So that was basically the major challenge for me. Definitely happy and proud to be one of the first few that were seated right here when we started in 2012. And then you have people coming in and then you're telling them stories. When we first opened our doors, this was what happened, this was what we were going through. We now have so many staff. Then we practically knew everybody, we knew ourselves, but now I walk into a branch and I don't know anybody there. And then when you start communicating with other staff and then they know, okay, you're a Pioneer staff, they look up to you. So it's more like a challenge to us, especially us, the Pioneer staff. People are looking up to us because we're here right from beginning. So it's just exciting. Like I said, it's a proud moment when you look around, when you look at the numbers, you go to the staff list and you see so many people that you might probably never meet.
The challenges of starting small can only be understood by those who experienced it. In the same manner, the joy of seeing the outcome of your conviction can only be understood by them.
I remember my boss then, that's Austin Abokai, and when I told him that, sir, I've made up my mind to move to Jaiz Bank, he was a bit shocked. So he was like, Rahama, but why? I said, sir, it's just religious sentiment. So he now said, okay, fine. Why don't you take your leave since you've not gone on leave? Then go to this bank, resume with them, and then study how things are. If you think you are not comfortable, that the door is always open, you can come back. So I said, okay, sir. And then when I left, I joined Jaiz Bank. I met a lot of people then, basically the now head of HR, the regional manager of Abuja. And then we started, in fact, the regional manager then, that's Haji Azara, she was really accommodating, very accommodating, and she gave us a kind of support. She gave us the assurance that we need. So after like a week, I have to call her, call my boss and said, sir, actually, I've made up my mind, so I'm sending my resignation, which I did. And I have some of the people I've worked with earlier before my current boss that I left have to call me that, why did you decide to go live in well-established bank to a bank that you don't even know whether it will survive? I was like, sir, I've made up my mind and that's it. All I need from you is your prayers. And alhamdulillah, we are here. Actually, it's really challenging then, in the sense that we are starting new. And being the cash officer then, when we just open our doors, we have influx of customers. And these customers come in, they open account, they go, and we have a little IT challenges where at times we need to even come in weekend to open this account and then do the postings. So as cash officer, when I go into that world at times, starting with like $1 million, then bit by bit to maybe 20, 30 million. And then the day I was like counting my vault and I noticed hundreds of millions, I was like, wow, work has actually begun. But initially, every kobo really matters, because when we go in there, at times we need to wait for customers' deposit. We receive deposit. As we receive them, we use it in paying orders, just as in we are just starting. And coupled with the fact that when we started, we have to start with just current account. We don't have the savings then due to some regulatory issues. So most people that came in then are for savings. So we have to manage them. So the current account holders will come in, open their account, and we get deposit and then the withdrawals. But alhamdulillah, here we are today, in fact, with a lot of cash. We need to even liaise with other banks to give them cash.
The gap in regulatory knowledge and expertise wasn't deterrent. Rather, the Pioneer staff collaborated wherever necessary with regulators to chart a path through grey areas.
I joined Jaiz Bank in, let me say Jaiz project in September 2011. And one of the Pioneer staff there were recruited then to start the project of commencement of the bank. I started my career in 2001 with First Bank, and from there also I worked with First City Monument Bank. But ever since when I was in First Bank, I still have this interest to work in non-interest finance institution. One, because of the ethicality, and also apart from that, also it's something that I believe and I wanted to be part of the team that will start that kind of institution in this country. I could remember when I came for the interview in Jaiz Bank then, back in 2011, I was asked which grade do I want. I told them that any grade. They also asked me in terms of the remuneration. I also told them that anything, the only thing I want to be part of the system. Honestly, we have put much effort because this is a unique system which has never existed in the country. And apart from that, all of us are from the conventional space. So many things, and basically we are just starting an institution there where there was nothing. Everything you have to start it afresh. And then even from the side of the regulators also, this is the first time they're experiencing this type of system. So basically sometimes, we share a lot of experiences, we share knowledge, and it's the passion that drives all of us to where we are today. And Alhamdulillah, I think none of us really has any regret from the decision that we took to be part of the team as at that time, when some of us are not even sure whether it's going to be successful or not.
10 years later, the growth trajectory of the bank gives reason for hope.
I believe, inshallah, we will also go beyond the borders of this country in terms of our operations. And I also believe in the next 10 years that we will also be able to align with the technological innovation in the banking space around the world, because so many things are changing, and we are also in the same environment, so we also have to align with the technological changes in terms of banking.
Being set up for local transactions was just one hurdle. Putting the structures in place to commence international transactions was a completely different matter.
I work with the Human Resource Department. I'm actually the head of Human Resource. We just heard that a new Islamic bank is coming on board. We applied. We had an interview, and luckily for us, we were recruited into the system. I was posted to foreign operations, which we had to start everything from scratch. So we have to start engaging offshore banks to start foreign operations transactions with. We started with First Bank, and we started initially with Commerce Bank, but it took a longer period for Commerce Bank now to onboard us. Eventually, when First Bank came, we started the process with First Bank. They were the first to start opening a correspondence bank account for us. So we started with First Bank. Eventually, we are onboarded with Commerce Bank, and then Standard Chartered. So that's how it began. CBN came for inspection. They saw that, okay, we are all fully ready to start operations. Initially, we maintained our foreign currency account with Unity Bank. So we did our first transfer to First Bank from our Unity Bank account, which was very successful. So that's how we started the foreign operations. Eventually, I got additional staff, Sadiq, who came from GT Bank a few months later, and the two of us were working in the department. Well, now all is history because it's a full-blown department now with full activities going on. I didn't have any concerns because I've always wanted to work in an Islamic bank. So when the opportunity came, I didn't think twice. I wanted to work there, and I applied. There was one of the GMs, Abdul Said. I told him I'm interested in the job, really. So he gave me. He said, okay, I should apply. I applied, and even at the interview, I was ready to take anything that I will be given. I was working with Unity Bank then, but coming to Jaiz Bank, I was willing to take anything that I've been offered. I was ready to take a pay cut. I don't mind then. It was, I didn't think then that the bank didn't have, as at then, it didn't have a license. No, it didn't come to me. I was ready and willing to take the risks.
Pride is one emotion all the Pioneer staffs share. Pride for the role they played and pride in the institution they helped to build.
So in 2011, around June, precisely I think, I was going through an article in my office. I used to work with Jaiz Bank because I worked there for like 5 years. So in 2011, around June, I got to read of information about Islamic banking, and of course it piqued my interest. So I was reading an article and I heard Jaiz International PLC, was doing a recruitment. In fact, the person that submitted my CV was our dispatch rider, mechanic. He was going for clearing. Then he had to take clearing checks in boxes, and he got the information. I was always talking about it. So he came back, he asked me, how did I bring your CV? I heard that place you're talking about. And I was like, okay, and I gave it to him. The next day, I got a call to come for interview, and that's how the journey started. So I joined Jaiz Bank in October 17th, 2011 was when I officially joined as a staff. As at then, we were around 28 or so staff. That was even before the license. So we worked for like 2 months before the bank got license, and then we were deployed. As at then, we had just 3 branches. Kano houses, one here, Kaduna and Kano. So I was the first customer service in the Kaduna branch. I opened the first account for Jaiz Bank in Kaduna. It was God. God was with us, and we wanted to do it ourselves. We wanted to, bring something different, do something different. So it was challenging having to, get customers to understand it. We were trained. The first staff were really, the bank really tried. There was a lot of trainings, there were a lot of sessions, so we were fully equipped. But then, of course, when you go out in the world, it's different. So, but it was a challenge. But alhamdulillah, we're able to overcome it. I feel very proud. I'm proud of, myself, having been from scratch. I'm proud of the bank, what the bank has been able to achieve. So I feel very proud, actually. A lot of us already had experiences. It wasn't like we were, coming into the banking system for the first time. So a lot of us already came with our experiences from other banks. So the experience in terms of customer service and all of that was already there. It was just to factor it into the Islamic tenants. That was just it. So a lot of things at that time was exciting, having to open an account, having to be able to explain to customers, having to onboard them into the systems and all. So everything was exciting at that time. The sky is the limit for Jaiz Bank. All the mechanisms are there, the systems are there, the passion are there. So I see Jaiz being the best amongst the best players of Islamic banking in the whole of Sub-Sahara, not just Nigeria.
Being called to ear multiple hats was not strange to the Pioneer staff. Whatever was required to get the job done had to be done, even if it meant delving into unfamiliar terrains.
So I joined the bank in 2011 as a Pioneer staff, and then I think we started with only 3 branches, Kano, Kaduna and Abuja branch. So I was here in Kano. So we started the same day, I remember. I was the operational head. We used to call it branch service manager. Actually, when I joined the bank, I came from operational background. I wasn't into marketing, So at that time when we joined the bank, we just had few customers, So all of us will have to go out to market. So it's even a new experience for me because I was now going out to get, I don't even understand the product then, but we are just rushing out to get people. So because it's something that I've not been doing, I never thought I would even do marketing. In my former bank, I've been an operation, and so. But then it's like I find it interesting. It's like I'm really, it's like a change of, work. Yeah. And I'm now enjoying the work because operation, I've done a lot, and somehow I've reached the peak. I have the support of my family, my friends, my associates, so I wasn't discouraged. I was even encouraged to. It's normal because I understand it's normal. Marketing, we go out to market. It's not that you go out to market, that same day you get what you want. So sometimes you have to continue before you can. I'll never get discouraged.
These are just a few recollections from some of the amazing and committed Pioneer staff who took bold steps to walk away from lives they knew, to confront an uncertain future, trusting that their faith will see them achieve success. Theirs is a part of a success story that cannot be forgotten. The Jaiz Bank success story.
It's a long story, of course, that you cannot piece together and provide. You can just say this is where it all began, and this is where we are today. We say Alhamdulillah. We have achieved one of the most significant milestones is the fact that it is demonstrated that non-interest finance, the Islamic variant, is possible in this climate, and it can succeed.